Hi, welcome to another episode of FitFam. Today,
We're talking about vampires. Just kidding. We're talking about blood.
blood. And a little twist on it. We got a little help from our U.S. Surgeon General, and we're going to talk about the importance of you knowing about your blood for longevity, for risk of disease. Basically, how come everyone needs to know about the blood? You ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. As always, this is Miss Natural Olympia, Hilary.
And this guy right here is Doug the Formulator.
And if you would please click the little bell and
Get notified.
get notified when we have new episodes. Make sure you're signed up on the podcast. Would really love to hear from you too. We love the comments
I
from
think it's
everyone.
also called subscribe.
Subscribe. That's it. Subscribe for free. And
You look good in blue.
Oh, thank you. Look good in grayish blue.
Oh, thank you.
And we've really, we just came off some crazy trips, a wild weekend in Mexico with some of the greatest thought leaders in the world. It was just so cool.
It was so cool. It was a little surreal. Still trying to wrap my mind around everything that I was a part of and the people that I sat and had dinner with. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these people that we listen to them every day, read their books, they're clients, but it was a little different being there with them and, Dr. Ben Hardy, Myron Golden, Russell Brunson to kind of be all in the same place. And it was really neat. Well, maybe if we have time, we'll go through a few takeaways from that. That was kind of really cool situation. But today, as we were talking about a podcast, we were actually going to do it on something else. But we are really excited about our Surgeon General. A lot of you know, Callie Means was nominated to be the U.S. Surgeon General, and I'm more excited about this than I think most people in the world. But the change that's going to happen because of her is phenomenal. She's no nonsense, can't be bought. And we needed that all the way back from C. Everett Koop way back in the 90s. So anyways, we're really excited about her. But she went on a podcast and was talking about blood. And I really like what she said. And I think we'll start the podcast with that first clip.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of get into it a little bit. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Yep,
All right. So
sounds
let's
good.
do that first clip.
Doctor won't order you a fasting insulin and HSCRP and you take a good faith effort to educate them, I would say you should find a new doctor. They're basic cheap tests that tell us so much about our longevity and health, and if your doctor doesn't understand that, then it's a problem. Your doctor won't order you a
That's pretty crazy. What's
No,
your thoughts on that?
It's really great. I just think that I'm always baffled at the people that go and see their doctor because they're not feeling well or they just want to check up and they are fought on blood work or what needs to be run with blood work, what's necessary and what's not necessary.
Boy.
And it's like if people don't come in with these major conditions or major side effects from something, they're not coming in like, oh, I'm really sick. Even if they're just coming in like, hey, I want to see what's going on inside me. Doctors aren't willing to do it.
Yeah,
it's the craziest thing.
It's the craziest thing, and we can get into even why that is. But what was really cool, to your point, that she said was, look, here's some basic markers.
Yeah.
And if they're not doing it, you probably should have another doctor, but especially if they're not willing to do it. And it goes back to that concept of we really should be looking at the markers that lead to disease. And even if you have something, you need to know these markers, but the main ones that lead to disease that you can actually fix and lower with lifestyle the high majority of the time. We're talking like 90%, if not higher. Some people, I've heard some days that 99% of the time, you can lower these markers, especially as they first start to creep up with lifestyle. And so should we maybe touch on why they're not, or?
Go ahead.
It's really interesting. We just did go back and watch our podcast on the Flexner report, and you can kind of see where that is. So without going back into that, in depth, the concept really is that doctors will recommend tests and prescriptions based on what the insurance companies will pay for, and the insurance companies are ran by the pharmaceutical companies and kind of the big conglomerate here trying to run everything. And so very few doctors think for themselves, even though that's how they started off. They started off with the most purest of intentions. And so, what our Surgeon General is saying is like, look, you need to become educated as the patient, as the consumer.
Yeah, I think that's actually something that we kind of skimmed over really quickly, but she even made the point after you've educated your doctor a bit on why you want the tests run, and then if they push back, then that's the issue. But you have to be an advocate for your own health. So going in and, doing your own research on what markers you're looking for and why you want those tested, and then being able to convey that to your doctor is vital.
It is. And, the point she made about getting a new doctor is interesting because um, to me, it's not necessarily get a new doctor. It really isn't. It's more of make sure that your primary care physician, the primary physician, healthcare professional in your life is one that's knowledgeable in these areas and that can help you with the education and the recommending them. You might like this one doctor that, yeah, they're not into preventative medicine but they might be the best sewer in the world. So if you get cut or be able to help or some serious thing, but they shouldn't be the primary care. Most of us go to our medical doctor as our primary care physician, no matter what, when, like our Surgeon General saying that many times that shouldn't be the case. So I'm actually even pushing back a little bit when people think I'd be further along the holistic route. I'm like, there's a place for people that specialize and don't do any of, the preventative work. But they should be in their specific place, and you have some around you the people that are going to support and are knowledgeable in all the areas to help you reach optimal health and be able to accomplish it.
Okay.
Yep. So let's see what else she has to say.
I would also say if your doctor's not willing to order these for you every quarter, that's also a big red flag. It means they don't understand the dynamicism of the human body and how these markers are leading indicators of so much down the road. Ways that you can deal with that is you could go to ifm.org.
So that's interesting. Not just order them.
Do it quarterly, which is exactly, we always tell people, have your blood work run at least twice a year.
At least.
And if you're able to, get it done quarterly.
Correct.
And I think the whole point about that is that these markers are indicators for your future longevity, for your future probability of getting some disease.
Quality of life.
Quality of life, yes. So your quality and longevity. And so being able to track, let's say even at the smallest, level, what you're doing, you've decided to change your diet, okay? And you're just trying something different. And for the next 4 weeks, you try it and you think you're feeling pretty good. I mean, for 4 months, right? Or 3 months. So you do it. Why wouldn't you check that? Why wouldn't you see what's happening on the inside of your body once you've changed your diet, once you've done once you've implemented exercise, you've started a new prescription, right? If your doctor does give you a prescription and you're like, okay, let's be on it, and then let's kind of check my numbers.
And seeing the other numbers is something else. Really,
Bingo.
The liver is at stress because I'm on that statin or whatever. And it is a great analogy because if I want to lose weight and then I go on a diet for 3 months, you think I'm going to get in the scale in 3 months? Sure, of course I am. Right? I want to see if everything I did works or not.
Well, and I think you make a really great point there too, that if you're losing weight, oftentimes people think, it's doing it. It's doing its job. I'm doing good. But if you're losing weight and your markers are not improving, there's something wrong there, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not always, the more data you can have, the better off you're going to be.
Exactly. And in the scale thing, I actually want to do body fat. Are you losing fat? Are you losing muscle? But so to her point, which is huge, is that you need to be able to ask your doctor or have someone in your camp that knows the markers to run. And she mentioned a couple. One of them is one of our favorites. She mentioned that this is one that you need to get done every quarter, and you need to have someone in your camp, health professional, on board. It was C-Reactive Protein. And in fact, this one's so important. On the panel that we've ran for almost 30 years now, we set it up so that after your heart disease risk markers, the very next one. And yet so many people overlook it. And we were just talking about that. Maybe we talk about C-reactive protein for a second. Okay.
Yeah, let's do. But something just popped into my mind, so I want to just mention it really quick. I want everybody to ask themselves, who is my holistic health team? Who is on my team? Who do I go to? Who can I reach out to? Whose information can I study to make sure I am getting a complete, well-rounded, holistic team around me to make sure that I have health and longevity for as long as possible. So I think that's a really good question for everybody to ask themselves. Who is my go-to? Who's my main healthcare professional? And who's on that team?
Yeah, and that's it. And you need to center yourself, and around you need to have someone. If I'm really hurt, broken bone, bleeding, life or death, situation, who is that person, right? Or that hospital, whatever it might be. And then who is it for nutrition? Who is it for exercise? Who is it for supplementation? Who is it for my testing? And hopefully with only a few people, you can knock all those out. But it's okay if you have 5 or 6, but you need to have them there. A lot of the people we work with, we're one cog in the wheel, right? We take care of the testing, the blood work, and the supplements, and they have other people for different things. Others, we do almost all of it, right?
Right.
And they just have that person they go to get sewn up, or if something major happens. But that's such an important thing to mention, is that everyone should take responsibility for creating your own team and surrounding yourself with the best, your own mastermind team. So good point.
Fitness advocate. Okay, so now let's go into C-reactive protein.
Let's go into it. So C-reactive protein basically is a marker that actually comes from the liver that tells our body if we have inflammation systemically, in other words, throughout the entire body. And we're talking about, like, say, an elbow injury or something.
Right. Like if you have a localized injury, then it's just going to be inflamed there. It's not necessarily going to be something throughout the whole body. But like if
so our C-reactive protein might not be high.
Right. So your C-reactive protein might not be high. But if you injured yourself and then you got an infection, then that could become a systemic problem.
Boom. And that's a great point. Even on that little scenario, is that it's, like, say, the elbow injury, and like, oh, I don't know if, it's been weeks or whatever, and I don't know if maybe it's infected and that. And well, C-reactive protein would tell you or not. And so what it's measuring is a lot more of bacteria, viruses, things like that in the system, things that can cause major issues. And most Americans, and you'll have some people, high-level researchers, tell you that the number one cause of mortality, a lack of shortening of years. The number one cause of shortening of your years is low-grade infection. In other words, a C-reactive protein number that is 1 or above. It should be below 1, right? And
and she even says, or have we gotten to that point yet?
yeah, she even says lower.
Yeah, she even says lower.
So we'll play that in a second. But below 1, and a lot of people are higher than that, but they're like, okay, well, it's not too bad. And it's this low grade inflammation that's happening. And so it's tearing your body down consistently all the time. And that's what leads to disease sooner than it should, right?
Right.
You basically, just quality of life and then loss of life. And so why isn't everyone doing C-reactive protein? And she's also talking about insulin, right? And we'll use a lot of A1C, your blood sugar over 90, 120 days. But let's see what else she has to say about that, and we'll come out and comment on it.
Health Online, they're actually covered by insurance. As insulin levels rise, it can be one of the earliest signals of all that we've got metabolic dysfunction. There was a paper from the Lancet that was astonishing that showed that insulin levels may rise 10 to 15 years before our fasting glucose starts changing. So we've got to check this as an early marker. Fasting insulin, we want it to be between 2 and 5 milliIUs per liter. HSCRP, this is helpful because it tells us a piece of that battery trifecta, chronic inflammation. You want your body to not be in a chronically inflamed state. I like to see it less than 0.3. At 0.36 seems to be the threshold where we really reduce all-cause mortality. If your doctor won't...
So
Crazy.
She's crazy, because it's super awesome that she's saying that based on the data, and it's true, below 0.36. So you have 1 and above, and she's saying 0.36 and above, you have some type of inflammatory marker that you really should work on. And the thing is below 1 usually means you don't have a big inflammation situation going on, but your body's not being efficient.
Mm,
And if you get it below 0.36, that means that you're being efficient. You're doing a little bit of cardio, so a little strength training. You're eating uh, probably somewhat healthy in that. But because most Americans don't, they allow that marker, like most of the markers, to be higher because that's the norm, but it
right.
isn't optimal.
Right.
And so it's a really, really good point.
Yeah, let's also touch on the insulin. And
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I think that's 10 to 15 years.
yeah, and I think that when it comes to, your insulin marker, we don't play a super you know, a big factor with just glucose because someone could have something right before they go get their blood done, right? But there's one called A1C, and the A1C measures the blood glucose over 120 days. And so you're seeing over time, and whether you're measuring the insulin, A1C, you're taking a look at how well your body is responding to these, simple carbohydrates, the sugars, and if the marker starts to creep up, that means you have insulin sensitivity issues and you need to do something to fix it, which lifestyle can fix it. And if you don't, that leads to metabolic disorders, diabetes, right? Early death. And like she said, 10 to 15 years. So we should be looking at these markers and we should see, like, oh, okay, they're starting to creep up. And the high majority of the time, we meet with people on blood work. I meet probably every day, right? Someone every day. I'm thinking today, I've already done 3. And the that's the main thing that is important for people to realize is that when you start talking to people or you look yourself at your own blood, you're gonna be like, yeah, I could probably clean that up a bit. Like,
Yeah,
right?
and you know what it's from, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that's high. Yeah, I've been munching on some donuts lately. Or,
Exactly.
when there's like some liver stress,
Mhm.
like a lot of people be like, I've been drinking a little too much lately,
Yeah. And sometimes there's something that they didn't realize, and it's a really
for
cool
sure.
aha moment. Like, wait a second, you're telling me Tylenol, affects my liver that way? I've had some people where their liver looks like they are an alcoholic and they don't
They've
drink,
never
but they
touched, yeah,
at all, but they've had Tylenol.
right.
Right, things like that, or like we had with, Russell that one time, in with the supplement, right, that he was
Yeah,
taking too much
yeah,
too much up. So, it's really cool because it will also show some things that like, "Hey, I didn't mean to do something wrong,"
yeah,
and it comes out, and that's why the every quarter thing is important too, and, I know that we've done a podcast on blood a while back and that, but, this was really great to have this resurgence from our Surgeon General saying, "Look, everyone needs to take responsibility for their own health. And one of the things you can do to take responsibility for your own health is to understand your blood and your blood markers. So I highly recommend that one of the people on the team you talked about is someone that understands blood work, functional medicine, understands blood work from a nutritional lifestyle standpoint, and they know what to order. And we created something called Nutrients RX. You can go to nutrientsrx.com and you can look at that program. That's exactly what we use, and all of our health professionals around the nation, they'll use the nutrientsrx.com portal, so you can have the health professional order it for you. They can order it for you. You can go on and order it if you don't have a health professional, and we can help guide you to either the right one, or help you with that. But basically, this is a panel that, well, all of our clients every 3 months, right? 3, 4 months at the
yeah,
longest, we have them do, and we go over it. And by the 4th or 5th time, they know.
yeah, yeah.
We've had them tell us before.
Yeah, they know which markers they're looking out for, and innately they know, from the first time we run blood work, which markers maybe, just DNA wise, they like some people have higher cholesterol,
Right.
right? And so they know which ones they need to watch, because there's a predisposition
Yeah.
to be a little bit higher. So yeah, no, they know, and they also know, as they're changing their lifestyle, what changes they can expect on their blood work. And if it's not happening, then we have the conversation. Either we're doing something wrong or you're not following it. So let's discuss and see where that's coming from.
Absolutely. And that's also where you can prove things even like your supplements. And you can prove diets. Like, what does a high protein diet work? Check it out. And then supplements too. If you're low vitamin D, you're low calcium, you're low B12, and you start taking supplements and they don't work, guess what? Maybe you need different supplements or you need more, whatever it might be. And it's really easy to know objectively if the things you're doing are working. And I think in the health field, especially a holistic health field, so many times people, I just don't know if, what I'm doing. I take my vitamin because I was told to and all this. Bloodwork fixes that. Bloodwork allows that to come. And the thing about the Nutrients RX portal for those that are on their own is it has tutorials. And each marker has a video and has information. So you actually could learn yourself if you wanted. I highly recommend you get with a holistic health professional, but if needed, you could do it yourself even.
Yeah, for sure. And you just made a pretty good point about, if you are having a high protein diet and is it affecting you, which, by the way, all of us process foods and macronutrients differently. And some of us don't process fats as well as others. Some of us don't process protein as well as others. And then some of us are very sensitive, to carbohydrates and that kind of thing. So being able to run your blood work and see actually through your own DNA and your body and how you do with different diets is really important, because we can say all day long, or somebody can say all day long, oh no, high protein everybody should be following it. Well, that's just not true, depending on how
Oh yeah, we've seen that many
break things
times
down.
that it's hurt a lot of people. And actually many times it's not even genetic. It's epigenetic abuse. And over time they've abused certain foods that their body no longer can break it down very, very
Very true.
easily. And we can come in with enzymes and help and things like that. So the key really is to follow our Surgeon General's, suggestions. Everyone should do their blood work. They should do it every quarter. And you need to become educated, take on that responsibility to become educated on some of the most important blood markers: C-reactive protein, your blood sugar, your insulin levels, your liver enzymes, AST, ALT. Honestly, it's not that tough. You could spend 1 hour with the right professional and you'll learn enough that will last you a lifetime, that every time you get your blood work done, you'll know little things and be able to know what to look for. So hopefully this inspires you all to do that. Get with your health professional. It's a good way to find out if your health professional's holistic, or if you want to keep them, they just need to be put in that box of whatever their specialty is, and you need to search out for other ones to be there. And that's probably the biggest thing that had come to me. Is my final message on it is that I've had so many people say, well, I thought that my friend or my doctor or family doctor was that person. And then when I started really talking about health things and vitamins and, blood markers for health and that, they either didn't know or got aggressive, about, oh, that's not for you to look at. That's for us to figure out. And I don't think you need it or whatever. And it became obvious where they needed to be. Okay, you need to be in a spot, but you're not my, primary care person for optimal health.
And you just made a really great point, is that, a lot of doctors will get all of your markers, and if it's not in disease, section category, then they don't even discuss it with you. It's not even something they discuss. It could be elevated, but because it's not elevated enough, it's not even a discussion. So
yeah, and it's not disease yet, right? So if it's not pathology, like, you're good, you're good. And so it is important for you to look at your blood work. That's a really good point. And, move forward with it. So very excited about where the nation's moving, because things like this discussion is one that we've been having for years, but now to be backed up by our Surgeon General is just a phenomenal thing. So get your blood work done, nutrientsrx.com. Make sure you find your holistic health professional. We can help you if you want. As always, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And this guy right here is the formulator, Doug, the formulator.
Peace.